Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app and use promo code CHGO when you sign up. Happy Mailbag Wednesday, or as Greg called it on Twitter, Whale Wag Wednesday. I like that.
Rolls
That's
right
pretty
off
good.
the
We appreciate all the questions you've sent in. We've got a lot. We're going to get right to them. Make sure you're following the show on Twitter at CHGO_Blackhawks. We've got our personal accounts, too, that are flashing on your YouTube screen. Speaking of the YouTube, make sure you smash the like button there. Make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube page as well. And on your preferred podcast app, hit that follow or subscribe button. And while you're there, you might as well leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And there's a new thing, Good Pods. Good Pods is pretty cool, too. So talk about us on Good Pods, and we'd appreciate that.
Do they have Good Pods on Good Pods?
Some good, some bad.
They have ours, so obviously.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Still figuring out Good Pods, but it seems like a good thing for podcasters.
Fun.
Yeah.
I would
It's
hope
like
so with that name.
I'm still looking. There is Chartable, which kind of shows you like where you stand. And I know last week we were the number 8 hockey podcast in America.
Cool.
So thank you to everybody who listened, and that's just the podcasts. And then we got our kind of company report, and this show is the 4th most popular show in the entire ALLCITY network over the month of May.
That's pretty
So
awesome.
thank you to all of you Hawks fans for being here with us, celebrating with us. I wonder why it's gotten so popular.
Yes, thank you also
I have
to the
no
ping pong
idea.
balls.
Imagine what happens like during a Stanley Cup playoff run in a couple
can't
of
wait.
years.
It'd be
a lot of fun.
It'll be a lot of fun to
It's
experience.
gonna be short off-season content for us.
Yeah.
which I'm looking forward to.
My wife was we were talking the other day. She was just like, man, like I love your summer schedule. Like, you know, you're home. You're home for weekends. You're home most days. And I was just like, yeah,
Enjoy it for 2 or 3 more years.
maybe it won't be this way all the time, but yeah, it's nice right now.
Because around 2025, 2026, that off-season's getting cut in half. And bring it on, baby.
Yeah,
Sure.
can't wait. Hopefully sooner. All right, I know we got a lot, Steven, so why don't we get right to them? Fire it up, man. Go ahead.
All right, first question comes from Big Wags. For Wednesday Mailbag, who is your ideal salary dump target for the Blackhawks to acquire? Some examples: Brock Boeser, Anthony Mantha, Connor Garland, Josh Bailey, Barclay Goodrow, etc.
Somebody read The Athletic.
Should we go? Should we go left to right? Mine's Brock Boeser because I think that he's what they need. He's good, and it gets them up to 11. I think that I think he's a better player than Connor Garland a little bit. So yeah, that's if they can make that happen, sign me up.
I like Brock Boeser for the same reasons, because that's going to basically come in a trade where you can get extra assets. There'll be some moving pieces with Vancouver, and I think that's a guy that really insulates your top 6 with Reichel and Bedard likely going to be there. I do like Connor Garland though. Still, I don't think you have. I don't think the potential for Chicago and Vancouver to make a deal work for either of those guys, I don't think is a bad idea. Boeser more of the scoring style winger than Garland, a little bit more of a jam type guy, but still has some offensive ability. I think both would be good. But yeah, since you said Boeser, I'll say Garland.
And I'll wrap it up by saying both of those guys. Either one. Either one of the
Those
Vancouver
are the best
guys.
options, I think. Yeah.
Yes. A, they're the best players on that list. B, I think Vancouver has the most to offer to sweeten the pot. They've got some draft capital. They've got some nice young players if you'd rather have a prospect. Whereas some of those other teams mentioned, they're in cap situations that also accompany very little things to sweeten deals with. And I think a guy I would prefer Boeser, but I would definitely take Garland. I think both of those guys cannot just be stopgap players. Those could be guys that could be part of the rebuild.
Yeah, they're not old.
And a guy like Boeser, who has not fully hit his potential yet in Vancouver for many different reasons, but if he can get to, if he hits his full potential and plays consistently at that level, he's a guy that can be here when the Blackhawks are back in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So
saw a flash of it two or three seasons ago where I think he had 30, flirting with 40 goals. Like he really burst onto the scene with them. He's got great hair too. Not a bad thing.
Hey, I like guys with good hair. I don't want to be the guy.
Sorry, fellas.
I don't want to be the guy with the best hair in the locker room all the time.
By the way, just for the sake of conversation, Brock Boeser has 2 years left at 6.65. Connor Garland 3 years left at 4.95. So there you go.
Well, Boeser's the higher gives them more cap relief, so it probably means more.
Yep.
More a better sweetener. And that's a guy that I would consider bringing back after the 2 years if he plays up to his ability.
Yeah.
Got a super chat from Brandon who says, saw a Yamamoto article on Daily Faceoff. Maybe a guy who can be a later round cap dump, change of scenery type guy.
Kyler Yamamoto?
I'm assuming you're talking about Kyler?
Yeah.
From Edmonton?
I mean, listen, if you can't put up big numbers and you get chances to play with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
I don't know if a change of scenery is really helping you out that much. You got to play with two of the greatest players in the world and still failed to consistently put up points. I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, he's a couple years into his career, had plenty of opportunities to play with both of those guys, and didn't really light it up. Like Ryan Nugent-Hopkins had one of the quietest 100-point seasons I think you'll ever see in the NHL. So he made the most of that opportunity to play with those guys in the past few seasons. Yamamoto, not so much. And, far be it from me to hold size against somebody, but a little undersized, and I think the Blackhawks are looking to add a little bit more size moving forward because some of their key parts are going to be, as far as their forwards go, on the smaller end of things.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I'm not the biggest, I'm not a big poo-poo of when a guy is small, but you can't have all small guys.
Yeah, right. It's not going to work.
And, Bedard is not big. We all know Nazar is not big. Lucas Reichel's not the biggest guy in the world. I mean, he's got some height to him, and when he fills out, he might be average league size. You eventually got to start getting some big bodies, and he's not one of them. If they bring it in, they bring him in on a 1 year, $1 million deal, fine. Won't be mad, but I don't see much there.
Yeah, nothing that moves the needle a whole lot.
No, you can use that money and bring in a guy that might be more desirable at the trade deadline, where you can get more out of it. I don't think, unless he has this amazing suddenly
resurgence,
breaks out, getting away from Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl has held him down all these years, and he breaks out. I just don't see. I would rather bring in a veteran guy, a proven guy with playoff experience that you could trade and get something for.
Well, I heard, by the way, Yamamoto has a year left at 3.1. Then he's an arbitration-eligible RFA. So keep that in mind. I heard Eddie O on the Blackhawks Talk podcast, and he was, at the end of the interview, talking about how, when you have a young rebuilding team, you want to bring in some veterans that are going to come and be a good influence. And it surprised me. He brought up when the Hawks brought in Marty Lapointe, which, if I remember correctly, that was kind of a disaster. Like, there were stories of Marty Lapointe and Marty Havlat, coming to blows in the locker room. And, look, Marty Havlat's work ethic has always been in question. Mm-hmm. But a guy coming in and fighting a teammate is probably not the greatest thing either. I don't care how bad a teammate the other guy is. I don't know. I wonder about that. You've already got Seth Jones, who's been through a lot of what Connor Bedard's been through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's been through being a high pick and coming straight to the NHL, and that connection's right there. Connor Murphy's a great leader and a veteran. Jared Tenorti's a veteran. So I think
Tyler Johnson.
Sometimes you have to look at Tyler Johnson's a great example. If Tyler Johnson was a free agent, we'd all be like, what about Tyler Johnson?
Right.
That's a guy who's won cups and he's already here.
Yeah.
So maybe we don't need to reinvent the wheel with that whole thing.
And he's a smaller guy that can give Bedard a little pointers on how to survive as a smaller guy.
And how to play a bigger game as a small guy.
Yep.
Exactly. So I think a lot of the a lot of the veteran help, the veteran influence is already there for Bedard. I don't think you need to go in and bring in a bunch more of those guys.
Yep.
All right, let's go. What's next?
Number 2.
All right, this is another one from our Discord. Saw this on Twitter. What would you guys think about taking on Benn's contract 2 years for Logan Stankoven? Think Bickle deal. In all likelihood, not going to happen. But all I'm saying is having Stankoven, Bedard, and Cristal on the same team would be pretty sweet.
Whoa. How? What the hell? What do you want? What?
I mean, yes, sure.
It would be.
Yeah.
Korchinski, number one
How
fan.
is this happening, though?
Can you please ship us a bottle of the edibles you are on right now?
Good golly. Yeah. I don't want to take on Jamie Benn.
The Stars aren't going to trade Jamie
and they're
Benn.
not. Yeah, they're not going to. No.
Jim Nill is going to take a deep breath and say, okay, didn't end the way we wanted to. Didn't end the way Jamie Benn did. That was a disaster. But he still scored 33 goals at 33 in the regular season. He has been really good for guys like Rupe Hintz and Jason Robertson and those young core. He didn't show great leadership in that Vegas series, but he's shown great leadership outside of that series.
Recency bias shouldn't equate Jamie Benn to Brian Bickle at the end of his term at the Blackhawks. Not even
Pete
close.
DeBoer said that. He's like, let's not let this one moment define Jamie Benn's
Right.
great hockey career.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, I think that's a little bit unfair. Like, it was a horrible decision and a horrible moment. He got his punishment. He's not like a Jacob Trouba where he's doing it over and over, or a Tom Wilson where he's doing it over and over. For a guy who has had as physical a career as Jamie Benn has had, he's got a pretty good reputation. I mean, sure there's moments, but when you're a power forward and you play physically, not every hit you're going to make is going to end up clean. Sometimes you get a little pissed off and do something dirty. It happens. Like, look, everybody here loves the hockey player Jeremy Roenick. Roenick went over the line all the time. Right? I just don't think that we should now be writing off Jamie Benn because of one real bad moment in the series.
And the Stars are not going to give up Logan Stankoven.
No.
They're not for anything besides a ransom.
He would immediately become the Hawks' second best prospect after Bedard, and by a huge margin.
Right.
I mean, that is a mega prospect.
Yeah, that's not happening. And like we talked about it yesterday on yesterday's show, breaking down the Stars, they're not in salary cap trouble.
No,
Not
they're
really.
not. They still can be. They could still, if they like, the contract they may want to move is maybe Ryan Suter. Because they've got Thomas Harley looks like a guy that's ready to take that next jump.
Mm-hmm.
Their young core is locked up
at
affordable prices. So like they, I don't think they're in trouble that they need.
So I'm looking at it now. They've got $7 million in 7.394 in cap space, but that's with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 forwards under contract. Dellandrea, Dodonov, Domi, Glendening, Kiviranta, Olofsson, all free agents. Actually, no, that was wrong. What am I talking about? Sorry. Dellandrea, Dodonov, Domi, Glendening, Kiviranta, and Olofsson. Yeah. Those are your free agents. At forward, Joel Hanley on defense, Dylan Wells in goal, and then they've got some lower prospects that are free agents too.
They're not in a bad spot.
Plus, part of the reason the Stars got to where they were this year is their depth down the middle.
Yeah.
You remove Jamie Benn, who's taking those minutes? You're not going to create yourself a major hole because the guy had, a one bad meltdown in a playoff series.
A Pudwackian moment.
Yeah. No, it'd be silly for Dallas. Jim Nill is not a knee-jerk reaction type general manager. He's one of the most patient general managers in the league, and then that's why it's paying off because they draft well, they develop well, and they don't get trapped into bad, rush judgment type decisions.
Yeah, we said it the other day where, I think it was you, Greg, that his GMing is allowed as the Sagan and Benn careers start to go down. Robertson and the others are arriving, and it's like really just keeping them level.
That's
how you're supposed to do it.
Yep, very hard to do.
In a hard cap league, that's nearly impossible.
And eventually throwing Logan Stankoven into that group. I mean,
you got Wyatt Johnston. They're going to be a really good team.
Their window is going to be open.
Yep.
For sure.
Long after Jamie Benn's contract is over, you don't need to trade it.
All right.
All right, let's get to what this episode's named after. When should I get my Connor Bedard jersey? After the draft, or should I wait for him to be named captain?
Well, those patches, those C patches can be added on at any time.
Yes.
So you don't need to wait till he's
very
captain.
easy to go and get one from your local hockey store for $3.
The second you see the commercials after the number 1 pick is made, go get it.
I have a rare Toews non-captain jersey, and that could be you just telling people like I had it first.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a status symbol.
It'll also be the last of the Adidas line.
Yeah.
Before Fanatics takes over. So if you have a Bedard Adidas jersey, like the one we have on set, it's going to be, a relic of time. It's like having those, the RBKs.
Yeah.
It was like the first line of the Reeboks, and then before it was spelled out Reebok. It's like one of those. So.
And I like the Adidas. It's the first time I've seen like an authentic Adidas like up close and been able to hold it and like put it on. They're pretty nice looking.
They are.
Nice, vivid colors. The stitching is great. I kind of like the venting on like the shoulders and the underarms. They're nice looking jerseys.
I just wish they were what the players wore.
Yeah.
They're just a little bit different. But what do you
I don't know why that's so difficult. Just give us what the players wear.
Well, I think that the difference there is if you want what the players wear, you got to up the price a little bit because Adidas Authentics were more affordable than the Reebok Authentics by like 80, 90, almost $100. But I don't think hockey jerseys don't need to be that expensive.
True.
It's a whole different discussion.
All right, what do we got next, Steven?
How soon will Connor have a number with us on the day he's officially drafted?
I know he wore 16 with Canada, but those numbers are just kind of assigned. He's worn 98.
Yeah, I don't think it's not going to be 98.
Yeah, it's going to be 98.
Yeah, and usually, like, they'll announce, like, the draft classes numbers pretty quickly after the draft, like a day or so.
Well, if development camp, if they put out a roster for development camp, usually it comes with numbers, and those are usually the numbers that those players will
sometimes yes
assign
and no.
for the NHL, but because they won't have ice for development camp, I wonder if they release a numbered roster.
Listen, Connor Bedard jerseys are going to sell like MFers. They're going to put a number on this kid as soon as they possibly can.
For sure.
They'll be available the second he's drafted.
They want to get those in the Blackhawks store by the time he walks off the stage in Nashville. I'm sure they have already talked to him and said, hey, Connor, I know we haven't drafted you yet, but what number do you want?
Right.
We need to start printing these now because they're going to be the highest selling jersey they've had in about a decade.
And number 98 is available. If he wants it, he'll have it.
Be unique.
It's no problem.
Yeah.
Be the first 98 in Blackhawks history and probably the last.
By the way, a lot of people like, I'm trying to buy it on NHL.com and it's not letting me.
They're not allowed
Find
to,
a local jersey maker. They're all over the place. They'll make you a Connor Bedard jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's one right there.
If you really want to, you can get the Adidas blank and get the numbers stitched on.
Yeah, but I mean, most
independently.
jersey shops will have blank Hawks jerseys in stock and the Hawks numbers and letters, and it can do it for you.
Yep.
Absolutely.
My friends, Triple Threat Sports, they can do it. They're capable. There's lots of places that can do it, but I mean, you can also support a small business that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So that's the way to go, kind of always. I know it's not an option for everybody, but go for it.
And the official online shops are not allowed to sell them yet because he's not a player yet.
Right.
So,
yep. There's also City Sports lettering on Oak Park Avenue, and I believe it's either Tinley Park or Palos Heights. They do a great job too. I think for a while they actually did the Hawks sweaters for a while.
Oh yeah.
For a few years, that was their official
Nice.
jersey maker. So
Yeah.
yep, it's out there if you know who to call,
Yep.
and which wheels to grease.
All right, Steven, what's next?
All right, a non-Bedard draft question.
What?
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Well, yeah, we got one of those.
What's the point?
Hey, crew, would it be possible if Davison does end up swapping 19th for 11th with Vancouver, could he move further up with the trading the 11th pick? Would be more enticing for teams like Philly or Caps, and please target Oliver Moore.
So trading 19 for 11 and then 11 to
And
get
then trading
higher.
up.
I mean, it takes two teams to make a trade, and I think if you move up as the Blackhawks from 19 to 11, I don't know how many teams from 2 to 10 are going to be chomping at the bit to help you out to get higher in the draft at their expense. So I think if you get to 11 with Vancouver, however you want to try and make some sort of deal there. That's probably as best as you're going to do to get up into the first round with that 19th pick. I know the idea of getting into the first round a third time is possible, but that's not going to come until the 20s or so. But yeah, I mean at 11, options are open. I think we've all talked about Gabe Perreault potentially at 19 if they're there at 11. Like maybe they guarantee they get him if he's a target of theirs. I think one guy that in that range, I know the question asked about Oliver Moore. He's definitely a great option. Was one of those U.S. development team standouts. Like, yeah, I mean there's a lot on the table if you go from 19 to 11 that wouldn't be there in those picks. And I know Andrew Cristal is a I know he was a young teammate of Connor Bedard's, a good friend of his. Like I don't think the Blackhawks will take that into consideration when drafting. It doesn't hurt, but I don't think that they're going to. But Cristal on his own is a good player, so he could be there as well. And from what we've learned, that the Blackhawks have kind of been focusing on him a little bit more in their scouting. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, I don't if you can move up to 11, great. I don't see the Capitals looking to trade down.
No.
I think they are hoping that Michkov makes that slide and he's there for them at 8.
Yeah.
They've got a team that, you still have, the focus there is obviously Ovechkin breaking the record, but he still has to score at a 40, 50 goal pace over the next couple of seasons to do it, which means, hey, you got a shot at making the playoffs every year if Ovechkin's putting up 50. So they want to get another, and eventually they're going to move on from that. So you got to start rebuilding. I don't think they're looking to move down. I think they want to get themselves, a potential cornerstone player there. And Philly, same. I don't see them wanting to trade down either. They've got a new president, a new GM. I think they want to make a big splash immediately. And, Philly fans might be excited about new general manager. And how do you kill excitement? By saying, well, we don't want this top 10 pick. We're moving down to pick 19th. But don't worry, we got all these extra 4th round picks coming.
Yeah, that's not
right.
That's a way to kill some buzz real quick.
Yeah. Bijan says, would you trade Oliver Ekman-Larsson? Would you take Oliver Ekman-Larsson's contract for 11 straight up? I would not, because he's got 4 years left at 7.26.
I would take it if it was guaranteed he was going to be on LTIR for those 4 years and not actually play.
If he's retiring, sure. But I'm not taking up another defensive roster spot from a kid.
No, I don't. No. If he's not going to play, if he's going to be hurt for those 4 years, I'd be willing to do that. But no, we don't. I don't need a $7 million defenseman. I'd rather have all of our prospects come up, play together, and still make less money than Oliver Ekman-Larsson would have.
Yeah.
Not even like half of what he's making.
Yeah. And Drawlex brings up the Michkov thing. Says the thing I don't know is if the Caps 100% want Michkov, it's assumed because of Ovi mostly. I like Michkov, and maybe the character questions in Russian situation make him fall more than we expect. I just want to be clear: there are no character issues with Michkov.
Not that we've heard.
It's not character. It is purely the Russian factor and the uncertainty in whether or not he'll come and how far away he is. He's under contract for what, 3 more years?
Right.
Yeah.
In Russia, so
and
you're gonna have to wait.
We talked with Stephen Wino, who is based in D.C. and knows the Capitals really well, and he said if they stay there at their pick and Michkov's there, they're not passing him up. Like that's I don't think many teams should if he falls that far.
Alex Ovechkin makes a couple of phone calls to the Kremlin. It's amazing how quickly Michkov might get here.
Sure, you never know.
Hey, I'll come and play in the KHL for. After I break the goal record, I'll play 5 years in the KHL if you get this kid over here. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
There's ways. Oh. All right, what else we got?
All right, Nate in our chat brings up Cristal. We got a question about him here as well. In 2016, the Hawks took to Brinkett in the second round. He slid because of concerns over skating and size, but scored a lot. This year, it seems Cristal is slipping into late first, early second round due to skating and size, but put up massive numbers. Should we scoop him up at 35?
35, yes.
He's at 35. Holy crap. Yeah.
Yeah, he is slipping a bit, and the skating is a concern.
Well,
and I think
he said on this very show, if you can't skate, you can't be a Blackhawk. That's like that kind of contradicts though, because we've heard a lot that they're very interested in him as well.
Maybe it's
could be a smoke screen.
It's a could be. And maybe it's something that maybe mechanically the skating is got to be fixed, and they believe that it can be fixed with coaching. If that's one thing with the player, that's one thing. But if it's just strength, speed in your skating, then yeah, you might be beyond what the Blackhawks are looking to do. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's available in that early second round. I think the Blackhawks have an opportunity to take a flyer on him. Why not? I still think he's going to be in the first round. The numbers he put up, his scoring ability, like that's hard to pass up for most teams. So I think if he's available, go for it.
Yeah, but as another guy, 5'10", 165 pounds. I mean,
yeah, there's only so many of those guys you can have on your roster.
I really think the Hawks are going to be targeting dynamic players with size after the Connor Bedard pick.
Danny Butt.
Danny Booty. Pronman rated Crystal at 68. One shy of being
almost
a real nice rating.
Almost a nice rating.
Almost the nicest ranking you can get.
Almost.
Hey.
I'm trying to see if there's anything. I'm going to look at their a new report for him. Why don't you guys do some reads while I do that?
I'll tell you guys about pins and aces and making yourself look good on the golf course. You're going to do that by going to pinsandaces.com and checking out their extensive line of golf apparel and accessories that is going to make you look great out on the golf course while your golf shot slices right into the woods or the prairie like it did for me this past weekend. Pins and Aces, they're the official golf apparel partner of ALLCITY and of us here at CHGO, making amazing polos, hats, golf bags, pants, gloves, golf socks, accessories, tees, ball markers, all that you need out there on the golf course and more, including the beer/beef sleeve, the innovative product that allows you to store up to 7 beers or about 4 beefs inside your golf bag and keep them cold or warm for the entire round. Go to pinsandaces.com. When you do, use the promo code CHGO. You're going to receive 15% off of your first order and get free shipping. Again, that's pinsandaces.com with the promo code CHGO.
And while Pins and Aces has got you covered for all your gear needed on the golf course, if you're looking for some gear that's got your favorite sports teams on it, then FOCO is where you need to head to. You can get fitted out in all the best sports gear around. They got everything from hoodies, shoes, signs, bobbleheads, and everything in between. And also, it's very late spring, almost summer, but that means baseball season is upon us. Got both teams in action right now. Both our Cubs and Sox crew are here watching, getting ready for post-game shows later this afternoon. Since it's baseball season, you're going to go to FOCO, get yourself some Aloha shirts, straw hats, polos, bags, everything you need for a game. You want to decorate your home office? You can call on FOCO like they have done to help us decorate our set right here. Yeah. They've got bobbleheads, they've got signs, they've got all sorts of stuff and things you can put in your favorite room of the house to make it even cooler than it already is. So check out FOCO.com or click on the link in the description below. And a special deal for our lovely CHGO listeners, all pre-sale items, you can use the promo code, easy for me to say, CHGO, for 10% off.
All right, so Andrew Crystal, we're unclear on the name. He did slip from 33 in March to 68 in May on Corey Pronman's rankings. Here is his analysis. Crystal is very talented offensively. He has puck on a string type of hands and routinely beats defenders with his stick handling. He has a highly imaginative offensive mind and very good vision with the puck. Crystal is so dangerous on the power play because of his skill, but also his great shot, as he scored a ton of goals from range this season. The concerns come down to his frame and especially his skating. He lacks foot speed for the higher levels and has awkward skating mechanics that are concerning for his NHL projection, where he too often defaults into the 10-2 skating style, overly relying on his edge work. He doesn't shy from going to the net, but I wouldn't call him a high-compete type. He will need to score a lot in the NHL to justify his various risk factors, and while I think he can get games due to his immense offensive talent, I have a hard time seeing him as a long NHL career type given his various risk factors. So there's Corey Pronman's take on Andrew Crystal. So
that doesn't sound great to me.
Well, I mean, at 35, you think about it, but I think we're talking in the first round, probably
I'm not trading up to get Andrew Kristoff.
No, I don't think you have to. You probably don't have to.
Probably don't have to. I probably don't take him at 19 either, depending on who's on the board.
I mean,
it certainly sounds like he's going to be there with one of those second-round picks.
Sure, and look, every prospect analyst has different thoughts on different guys, and this is probably the lowest you'll see Crystal ranked.
Yeah.
But Pronman's one of the most respected and the most plugged in, and if he's got him that low, that is a bit of a red flag for me, especially, as you mentioned, the Hawks want guys that can skate. And if skating is a concern...
If it's that big of a concern, yeah.
Yeah. Then they're probably going to pass. But I know for sure, there was interest.
Yep.
Earlier in the year, but maybe they went and scouted him and said,
right.
Don't love the skating. And again, the fact that it's Bedard and not Fantilli or Carlson changes the way the Hawks roster projects down the road. So, well, it might have been really exciting to think about him and Adam Fantilli together. You can't probably have Bedard and Crystal together because of the lack of size. It's way too small.
Yep.
All right. What else we got?
You guys ready for free agent questions?
Yeah.
We only got about 100 of them. You ready?
Bring it on.
No problem.
All right. The obvious number one pick will be Connor Bedard, but who should the Hawks target in free agency to pair with them for the next era of Kane Toews?
Nobody. You draft.
There's
next
nobody
guy.
in the free agent class that's going to do that.
Yeah, nobody. You want Kane and Toews with Bedard, you have to draft the Jonathan Toews to Connor Bedard's Patrick Kane.
Unless you want to sign free agents Kane and Toews.
Sure.
Where's the
sure.
Put the dollar in there.
Yeah, you're not going to sign anybody. That's
Not in this free agent class, no.
That is a drafted type player.
This free agency class, if you're going to dip into it, which you probably have to, you do have to go get a couple of guys. They're going to be the guys that are short-term tradable contracts, much like we saw last summer.
Yep.
Yeah. Maybe specifically those guys.
Maybe.
Could be Domi and Athanasiou again, or one of the two, or something like that. But
yeah.
it's going to be the same mindset. I think if you're going to bring in a player of higher caliber, it's going to be via trade, taking on a bad contract, something like that. They're not even bad contracts. It's just giving somebody cap relief.
Right.
Yeah.
As the Hawks had to do with
The
Taylor.
guy I really starting to look towards in this free agency class, starting to make more and more sense, and it's a guy that will get you at least third-round pick at the draft or at the trade deadline. You need help down the middle? I signed Lars Eller to a one-year deal.
Sure.
Sure.
The Avalanche gave up, a second or a third-round pick to get him at the deadline this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that.
He's a guy that always gets traded at the deadline because teams want bigger centermen that can win faceoffs for the playoffs, and that's what he is. So that's a guy I look for this offseason.
I'm down with that.
There is nobody out there that's going to be a cornerstone type player and still be effective when this team is good.
Right.
Agree.
Next.
Who is the best free agent or trade piece to bring in that would mentor Bedard the best? Edzo mentioned Marty LaPointe on BH Talk for 88 and 19. So a guy that is comparable to him. A couple cups and four should like it. Get a point when you need it. Jordan Stahl, Marcus Foligno.
All right. We've kind of already said that,
touched on
but
this.
like
The enforcer thing.
the enforcer thing. I'm working on an article about do the Blackhawks need to bring in a protector for Connor Bedard. I think they're already here. It's not Al Secord and Dennis Savard.
Right.
It's not that game anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Al Secord was Dennis Savard's personal bodyguard, but he also scored 50 goals a year.
Yes.
Like he also was really good.
Right.
So, you have Connor Murphy that will stick up for yourself. Like how many protectors did Patrick Kane have in his entire career?
Not many. Jared Tenorti's here, too.
Jared Tenorti, Connor Murphy will mix it up. Of all the guys to bring it, I keep hearing the name Tyler Bertuzzi. I don't want anything to do with a Bertuzzi. Steve Yzerman traded a young, effective player right at the cusp of his team getting out of rebuild mode into contending mode for a reason. Like, that's a huge red flag for me.
Yeah.
People have brought Milan Lucic's name up. No, keep that plug out of here. Like, there's no need for that. Connor Bedard doesn't need to have a knuckle draggler on his line to protect him. You know what will happen? Team takes run at him, score on power plays. That will stop teams from taking runs at your best players. Now, do you need to get some tougher some more physical guys? Sure. But you don't need to bring in a guy just to protect
Who's
Connor
protecting
Bedard.
McDavid?
He doesn't
I mean,
need
Darnell
protection.
Nurse is on the team, and he's tough, but he's also a good player.
They tried that with Zach
Cassian.
Cassian. How did that work?
Yeah, like it's...
No. Connor, you're not taking runs at Connor McDavid because they're going to score on you in the power play
Yeah.
every damn time.
And he's going to skate past you. And
Yeah, and and as far as the mentoring, I think that's way overrated. I mean, yeah, you do need guys that could help you with things, but
Yeah.
like the whole Patrick Kane would be the perfect. No, you've got guys. You've got we just
he has
mentioned
no
Seth Jones,
interest in that either.
Seth Jones, Connor Murphy, Tyler Johnson are great professionals.
They're already there.
that are already here. Tyler Johnson won back-to-back Stanley Cups just 2 years ago.
Right.
And he's got the work ethic that you want. No, there's no work ethic. Like, I think Connor Bedard's work ethic is going to mentor a lot of guys in that locker room.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of young guys that Bedard is going to mentor right away just when he leads by example.
That's what Toews did.
So I think the mentoring thing is overrated, and I think the enforcer/protector thing is overrated. I think you've got enough here already. You want to bring back Max Domi to do that role? I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'll take a dumb penalty for you.
Yes, he went out and protected Kane twice this past season, and he could score some goals. So that's the guy I'd bring in. But otherwise, we don't need. Michael Wagner says Evander Kane. No, I think he's saying protect Connor
protecting
McDavid.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe, but he's also a guy that could score. But he's just Tom Wilson. No, thank you. I don't want those guys are liabilities.
Yeah.
You don't need a
Overtime.
meathead here to do that. That doesn't fit the plan right now.
That said, I would love to cover Ryan Reeves.
Sure.
I don't know what it does hockey-wise, but it would be fun for us.
You know who I would rather do? Vegas is a team that's going to need some salary cap release. I take one of their bad contracts and make them give me Keegan Colasar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Give me Keegan. I don't want Ryan Reeves when you can give me Keegan Colasar.
Sure.
That's the guy I would bring in here.
$1.4 million for the next 2 years. That's
Sure.
very doable.
Yeah. I mean, and he's also familiar with the area. Former Chicago Wolf.
Yep.
Yeah.
wouldn't-
And he's a
hate
former
that.
Seattle Thunderbird.
Hey,
He'd fit right in.
checks a lot of boxes. Yeah.
And I covered him when he was at the Woods. He's a great kid too. Nice guy that can punch your teeth down your throat
Sounds good.
and score a goal.
That's fun. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I would enjoy Reeves though. He seems like a fun dude to.
I would enjoy
cover.
talking to Ryan Reeves,
Yeah.
and then the second he stepped on the ice, I'd be like, "What are we doing here?"
Yeah.
After the game, why do you think you played? Do you think you should be playing? Beck says, what have Colasar's stats been? In the playoffs, he's got 5 points in 17 games. So he's
not a point
playing.
producer,
Right. In the regular season, 18 points in 74 games this year. But that's not what he's here for.
He's a physical player,
Yeah.
down the lineup player, but yeah, fits that like protector role.
And as our OG diehard region rev says, not every move is centered on Connor Bedard. You have to build your team.
Right.
That includes Connor Bedard. So I think Connor Bedard has the talent enough that he doesn't need to be, babysat from day one.
No, I mean, there's a reason he's this level of prospect.
Yeah. You've got guys in the locker room already that can help him make that transition. You know how long that transition in the NHL is going to take Connor Bedard? About 8 shifts.
Hopefully, yeah.
Over under 8 shifts. And he's like, I got this.
Yeah.
Bex wants to know about penalty minutes. 68 regular season, 38 in the
so
playoffs.
close.
So there you go.
Yeah. I like I've always been a big fan of Keegan Colasar. And that's just throwing a name out there. I'm not saying he's available,
Yeah, maybe not.
but that's a name I
It'd be fun.
ask.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you want us to take
Sure.
on Alec Martinez's contract? Throw in Keegan Colasar.
I'm listening on that. That's for sure. All right. What else we got, Steven?
We're the fastest skating forwards in free agency, other than Andreas Athanasiou and Max Domi.
Andreas Athanasiou and Max Domi. That's it.
As far as straight line speed, I think Athanasiou is probably the fastest on the market. I can't think off the top of my head of anybody that's out there that's, as far as straight line, speed, that is going to
No,
outrace
there's
a fantasy.
not a lot of speed out there. This free agent class is old and not very fast.
Yeah.
I'm looking at some of these guys here.
Pacioretty has got some speed, but now he just blew out his
Yeah,
Achilles
but he doesn't have
for the
any
second
Achilles.
time.
He's coming off 2 straight blown out
I
Achilles.
think that speed might be.
Tarasenko used to be fast.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing a lot of speed
yeah, there's
here.
just not a ton.
Tyler Bertuzzi, maybe, but we already
I don't
talked
think
about we
so.
don't want him.
Nyquist at 34 years old.
Yeah, no. If you're looking for speed in this free agency class, you're going to be seriously disappointed.
Yeah.
Not there.
That's it. Athanasiou and Domi are the guys.
Seems like it.
Yep.
Hey.
What else
They
we
have
got,
an
Steven?
opportunity to bring both of them back if they want.
Yeah. It's got to be a lot more tempting now, too.
We've all been saying KD should get some guys via trade or free agency to play with Bedard, but would it be the worst idea to just ride it out for a season with guys like Radish, Reichel, Tyler Johnson, and wait until next summer to do some shenanigans?
Absolutely not.
No.
See, there's another guy we didn't talk about. Taylor Radish
Go
can
for
be
it.
your protector of
Yeah.
Connor Bedard, or Boris Kachuk, if he can keep up with him. Like, those are guys that are willing. They're bigger guys.
I'll be right there.
Those are bigger guys that can, help, protect him. No, I think that's he hit the nail on the head. There's no reason to go crazy this off season. They're not going to.
The idea is if you can bring in assets to do it, cool.
Yeah.
Like if they're going to give you Boeser and 11 for 19 and some fodder, yes, because it makes sense because you're moving up in the first round. That does not derail the plan at all.
No.
I think just going after a bunch of free agents doesn't make sense. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, you're not going to piece together your team completely through trades and free agency just for this season.
Right.
They have a lot of options to bring in some players like that and potentially work around things for asset management. But yeah, you don't need to completely go crazy. Just because the options are out there doesn't mean you need to take all of them. And one of the options is just maybe one or two players to kind of insulate the lineup just a little bit, and then you roll with most of the guys you did this past season. That's fine. And then we'll talk about the lottery again next offseason.
Sure.
I think was Jordan Stahl mentioned in an earlier question?
Yes.
Just a quick note. It sounds like he's not going to be a free agent. That Carolina is their owner was like, let's bring it all back. We were hurt and we were still close. We're going to bring everybody
That's
back.
not wrong.
It sounds like Jordan Stahl will stay in Carolina, which he's been there not his whole career, but he's been there for
A long time. He's the
and-
captain, right?
Yeah, he's the captain. So I think he's not on the market. That wouldn't be a guy I wouldn't hate bringing in for a 1-year deal.
Not jumping over the table
but
for him, though.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be on the market.
All right. Steven?
If you could get any 3 players in the league right now to come play for the Hawks, what 3 would you pick and why? This is a major hypothetical,
Cale
obviously.
Makar, Connor McDavid,
Anthony
and
Tkachuk.
Nathan McKinnon. Those are my 3.
Give me Kachuk.
I want the fastest players possible.
Yeah, definitely Cale Makar. Connor McDavid, yeah, and it's hard to say, no, I don't want him. Yeah, and Kachuk gives you that edge. McKinnon gives you that speed as well. Is there a stay-at-home, defensive defenseman to add to that mix? Maybe. But definitely Makar and McDavid are at the top of my list.
Yeah.
And then it comes down to, if I've got Bedard, I probably have to go Kachuk to give you that sandpaper.
Yeah.
And those intangibles that everybody loves so much. Because if I've got Bedard, I probably don't need Nathan McKinnon.
Nah, don't need him.
But, no goalie, no. Look what the Vegas Knights are doing. You don't need the
You
stud
just need
goalie.
5 replacement level goalies, and one of them will pan out to have a hot
I think
season.
the Hawks have at least 2 already.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not going crazy over the goalie because how long did it take Bobrovsky to finally figure it out in Florida? I think we're learning that, and I know we're just a year removed over Vasilevsky leading the Tampa to 2 cups and 3 straight Stanley Cup Finals, but I think the analytic world has kind of made goaltending not as important as it used to be.
I mean, you still need the guys that are going to make the timely saves.
Yeah, but I think we're going to see more teams go with 2 slightly above replacement level goalies as opposed to trying to find the one Hall of Fame goalie.
Yeah.
It's much easier to get 2 good guys than one elite guy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I'm still going McCarr, McKinnon, and McDavid.
I know we've got more, but we're going to take a little break here and remind you that you should start watching your TV with Fubo TV. FuboTV.com/CHGO. 140 plus live channels of sports, shows, movies, and news. You can stream live TV from any device and watch the most Chicago sports for the lowest price. Start watching immediately with a 7-day free trial at FuboTV.com/CHGO. Unlike cable, there's no contract, there is no hassle. You just sign up and start watching. You get 1,000 hours of cloud DVR included at no extra charge, and you can watch your local teams while traveling. You got the WNBA, the NBA Finals, right? NBA Finals
are, they're set.
Yeah, it's
I know hoops.
Thursday.
Between the...
Miami and DNVR.
Ah, yes, the Heat.
Yes, 2 8 seeds
Wayne
from,
Wade and company.
from South Florida are in the championship
Against
finals.
the Nuggets.
Go Nuggets.
And Jokic,
Yep.
right?
Yes.
You are
correct.
for a while, but yeah.
And
Jamal Murray.
trying to think of
I don't know anybody.
Carmelo Anthony,
Oh, man. He
former Nugget,
So
right?
Just announced his retirement
retired.
a few days
He
ago.
just retired, yeah.
Former Bull.
Former Bull.
Yeah, for about 20 minutes, yeah.
Is Chris Jackson
Let's
still on the
limit that.
Nuggets?
There you go. Chris Mullins? Oh, no, he was a Warrior.
Warrior.
Yeah, all
Pacer.
right. There you go. See, that's
Allen
versus my
Iverson played
basketball.
on the
Now it
Nuggets.
starts and
Allen
ends.
Iverson played on the Nuggets?
He did. Yeah, I remember that.
I don't remember that at all.
When they had with Carmelo with the baby blue jerseys. I remember that.
Cool.
See? I remember that
no
too.
recollection.
Anyway, Cubs and White Sox. I know them. They're on Marquee and NBC Sports Chicago, of course. You got F1, UFC. And here's the important thing. If you're a Cub fan and you want to stream Marquee Sports Network, Fubo is the only place to do it. Of course, you get NBC Sports Chicago for all the Bulls, Sox, Hawks action coming up with Fubo TV. Use the link in our description to sign up for 15% off your first month of Fubo Pro. Go to FuboTV.com/CHGO.
Hey, and if you're watching Cubs and Sox and Chicago teams on Fubo and you want more, well, then you need to become a CHGO diehard because that's where you're going to get the absolute best coverage of our Chicago teams. We've got Vinny Duber, we got Ryan Herrera, our beat writers for the Cubs and Sox, and you can get access to all the written content when you become a diehard. For your low yearly membership fee, you get all the premium written content is unlocked for you, and that's for all across our board. That gives you access to the rebuild report Mario and I put together for the Blackhawks that will pick up again next season. It'll be even more important than it was this past year. Plus, in addition to all that premium written content, you're going to get one free shirt or hat when you sign up, and you'll get that every year as you renew. Plus, you're going to get 20% off all your purchases as a diehard member. That includes on all your merchandise. And if you're going to buy a ticket to any of our awesome events, Bears tailgates, stadium takeovers, any event we're doing that's a ticketed item that you got to buy a ticket to, you're going to get a discount on that as well. Plus, you're going to get access to our members only Discord lounge where, hey, on Mailbag Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, whatever day of the week, your
Thursday,
questions get
Friday.
top priority because we love our diehard. So go head over to allchgo.com, become a diehard, and we're going to send you this awesome little gift box that's over here. There. Comes with stickers and your free shirt and your very cool membership card. So go head over to allchgo.com, become a diehard today, and start reaping the benefits of being one of our diehards. Plus, we'll love you forever and always.
Yeah.
That's priceless.
That's free, though. We do that anyway. A couple questions in the chat. I want to get to Windy City Hockey. Had one a little bit up there, Steven. Just a few spots up there. Would you guys consider buying out Peter Mrazek and signing a vet goalie that has a better history of staying healthy?
Nope.
Nah, I think
You
you're
already
okay.
have
Because I think they're going to do, if both guys are healthy, you're probably looking at a close to 50-50 split anyway.
Yeah.
And then you get Stauber up here. Maybe you give Comesso a look at some point.
Yeah.
Nah, I think they're pretty content with what they got.
If I'm bringing in a veteran, I might bring in a veteran to go to Rockford.
Sure.
Anton Hudobin.
So then,
Just buy a bunch of electrical tape for his pads.
you get a guy to go to Rockford, and then if Mrazek or when Mrazek gets hurt, you call up that veteran so the two kids can stay there and keep playing.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sure.
Because you play a lot of your weekends are essentially back-to-back, sometimes 3 and 3.
3 and 3, 3 and
So,
4 even too. Yeah.
So you get you bring in a veteran guy that can come on a 2-way deal. He can start every third or fourth game in the AHL, and then when you need somebody here, you call him up so Kamezzo and Stauber can keep on playing.
And I agree with Michael in the chat. Says the only buyout he could see is Nikita Zaitsev. I kind of agree with that.
Yeah.
If they're going to buy someone out, that's probably where it would be, just to free up a roster spot for defense.
Yeah.
They've got no loyalty or commitment to Zaitsev. He was okay last year.
He's all right. But honestly, I hate saying this about players, but he probably serves them better as an open roster spot and dead money this year than actually being on the roster.
Because it's more important for a guy like Isaac Phillips or Alec Vlasic to play
Yep.
82 games than hitting the cap floor with a guy taking up a roster spot.
Yep, I agree.
All right.
Next.
From Mike, the Blackhawks fan, next season Matthews and Draisaitl are free agents. Do you take one over the other based on Bedard being a true number 1 center?
Well,
We don't know if Bedard is a true number 1 center.
And Draisaitl's not a free agent until 2025.
Yeah, it's next year.
That's the next
Right.
year's,
Yeah.
the summer going into the 25-26
And
season.
we still don't know if Matthews is going to be a free agent. A lot of things, I'm sure. The Maple Leafs just announced Brad Treliving as their new GM. So
Have fun with that.
I'm sure the first thing he's going to do is talk to Austin Matthews and let him know what his plan are.
Better be.
Well, I mean, but based on what we've been hearing out of Toronto over the last couple of weeks, I think it's Brendan Shanahan that has to explain what the plan is, because if Treliving wants to make any major move, he's got to get it approved by a board of 3 different owners. So have fun with that.
Yeah.
So we don't know. I mean,
And it doesn't from everything I've kind of gathered, it doesn't sound like they're actually going to get a deal done. Like, he might go into this season with that no movement clause and be on an expiring
deal. They have to have it done
deal
by July 1st, because July 1st he gets a full no movement clause entering his last year of his contract.
And I'm sure that'll go over very well in Toronto.
Oh, absolutely. He won't be asked about that a million times. So
yeah, remember what Kane and Toews went through?
yeah, multiply that by 100. So yeah, I don't envy them at all. And it seems like Toronto, the only change they're going to make is probably the one they didn't have to make.
Dubas for Treliving.
Yeah, and
which is a downgrade, I would say.
Yeah, if both those guys are free agent GMs, well, they are, I guess, technically.
They were, yeah.
But Dubas is clearly the better choice.
I think so.
I don't know.
It's not a wide gap, but I would go with Dubas.
Dubas, to me, I don't know what he's fully capable based on the reports we've heard. Like, what did he want to do that got shot down?
Yeah.
They could have made the team better, or they could have made him even worse.
Well,
we don't know.
He crapped the bed last deadline. This year,
But we also don't know, did he have something? Was he willing to give up the first for Marc-Andre Fleury and was told no? There was
a report that the deal originally that they wanted to try and do was Hagel and Fleury for like their first and Nyes or something like that. I have to go. I'd have to look at it. Something like Dubas wanted to do Hagel and Fleury for Nyes and like a first or something like that. I was just like,
So
that'd be nice.
We don't know what he's fully capable of until he's given full control.
Wouldn't mind Matthew Nyes.
So yeah, and then maybe some of my rants against Kyle Dubas was ill-informed and not necessary, but I'll still stand by those words.
Just take out the name Dubas and put in Shanahan. We'll overdub it.
There you go. Yeah. It's not even. I don't even know if it's Shanahan. There's literally 3 owners that have to approve.
It's a company that owns
every
Leafs.
major move has to get approved by a board, which also delays them trying to do things too. I think there were a couple times Dubas was trying to do something, and by the time he got heard back from his board of owners, it was gone. The deal was done.
Doesn't seem like an efficient way to run things.
No,
it's certainly not. And it's got to be frustrating as a GM.
I can't wait for the Kyle Dubas book in a few years when he spills the beans.
Yeah.
And when he's a retired old wise GM at age 47 and he wants to write that tell-all book about his days in Toronto, I will read that book.
Yep.
All right, how many more we got, Steven?
We got 4 left, and we're 54 minutes in, so we're doing pretty good. There was 16 to
let's
start.
rifle through them here.
All right,
All right.
let's get a quick shot.
From Brandon Walker. I know he's been a bust so far, but what about Jonathan Drouin?
No.
Oh, man, I didn't get to
No
finish that one,
Jonathan
guys.
Drouin. Nope.
No.
It's never worked. It will never work. No.
Yeah, I'm fine with not. And you want to bring him in on league minimum to save a roster spot?
Not interested.
Fine. No.
Pudwackian traits.
Yeah. I mean, how many chances do you get before you realize you're just not there?
Yeah.
Why don't we bring in Alex Galchenyuk while we're at it? Too?
Sure.
Nail Yakupov.
There you go.
Give him one more look.
Yeah, Alex Nylander too.
Yeah. Yep.
All of them.
Sorry, nothing personal, but nah. Pass on Duran.
All right, from Rainman MP, what do you guys think about trading for Taylor Hall from Boston? They have a cap crunch coming, and he would check a lot of boxes for the Blackhawks. Also, the main reason would obviously be for the lottery luck mojo.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
All jokes aside, Boston, they've got nothing to give you to sweeten that deal.
Yeah.
If you're going to you're not taking Taylor Hall as a favor. You're going to want something from him. For the next 3 drafts.
Pasternak.
Yeah. For the next 3 drafts, Boston has 1 first-round pick, and it's not until 2025, and then 2 third-round picks. They don't have a second-round pick until 2026.
In 2024, they don't have any picks until the 4th round.
They needed to win the Cup this year.
Yeah.
They
didn't.
went all the way in.
They're screwed. They don't have cap space. They don't have draft capital, and they don't have very many prospects either.
No.
Welcome to the 2025 lottery, Boston Bruins. Like maybe even as soon as 2024.
Yeah.
The wheels are going to come off of that fast. Now, if they actually had something to give me with Taylor Hall, I'd make that trade. There's just nothing there that makes it worth taking on that contract.
Yeah.
It's not a ridiculously bad
2 years
And his
left at
contract's
6.
not terrible.
2 years left with $6 million cap.
If they
hit.
had a first-round pick to throw in with
It's the same thing as Boeser, right?
Yeah, a little bit less, actually.
Yeah.
But Boeser would be coming with something else.
Sure, right.
Taylor Hall's not coming with something else because there's nothing to give to sweeten the pot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Linus Allmark.
do you want Jake DeBrusk as a throw-in?
No, we could have had him for
No.
Dylan Strome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't you remember? The trade would have made perfect sense.
I'm just looking and it's like,
There's really nothing.
No.
They're consistently in the last 3-4 years one of the worst prospect systems
'Cause they don't
when
have
you
any
go through the
picks.
rankings because they don't pick anybody. Yeah, exactly.
So,
and when they
yeah.
do, they pick 3 players in a row that don't hit their ceilings.
Yep, they need Don Sweeney.
Man.
A lot of his blemishes were covered up by that amazing regular season, but they're going to be not good for a while. And you don't help them out just because you
It's
feel
tough.
for them. So, yeah, how many teams helped the Blackhawks out without having to give them? Nobody.
Right. Yeah.
Nobody
without-
did. So it's not happening.
Nope.
All right, 2 more.
From Chad Campbell, has Bob played his way from an albatross contract to a marketable piece? And if you were Zito, would you look to trade him this offseason if so?
yes.
If it's not going to happen this offseason, it's never going to happen.
I don't think he's playing his way out of an albatross contract because he would have to take what he's doing in the playoffs and translate it to not 1 but 2 regular seasons to not be an albatross contract. And at that point, he's only on a 1-year deal at that point to prove like, hey, I was worth it. Like,
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's. I think he's playing
I said
him.
yes too. If I'm Bill Zito, am I looking to move him?
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah, right.
Yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
definitely ride the wave,
His trade value has never been higher since landing in Florida.
and
so
it probably won't be.
no, especially if they win the cup. You know, does a team desperate for a goalie make a dumb move? Maybe. You hope.
Yep.
If it doesn't happen this offseason, it's never going to happen.
One more?
Yeah, one more, guys.
We'll get the super chat in
we got
there,
a super
too.
chat here.
With Bedard joining the organization, wouldn't now be a great time to change the logo? People are going to buy the jersey no matter what. I feel like the NHL makes a point to hide the logo in promos, but that was a lot easier without a generational talent to market.
I mean,
Don't think the team is thinking that way, because if you were going to change the logo, kind of felt like last year was the best option to do it because you were going to be you're going to be at the bottom anyways.
Yeah.
Might as well get all your bad news out at the same time, right? So I don't foresee the logo changing. We've had some conversations. I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. It may. Yeah, I don't see it changing anytime soon. I don't think Bedard changes that at all.
no. And plus with Fanatics taking over, they're not going to have Adidas change the logo for 1 year.
Yeah.
They're going to be like, no, we're not doing that. And
And it also feels like that the centennial celebration that the Blackhawks are likely having coming up in the 26-27
26,
season
yeah.
or 25-26?
it would be 26-27.
26, 27. So
Well, no, it would be 25, 26 because that would be their 100th year.
they were established in 1926,
Yeah,
right?
so that would be their 100th season. It wouldn't be the 100th anniversary. It would be their 100th season, not
100th season.
99 years, 100.
So the
seasons.
75th anniversary season was 2000-2001. So the 100th
So it
anniversary
would be the
25-26.
25, 26.
because
okay.
1926-27 was season number 1.
Maybe that is something that they consider, that time frame to be like 100 years and now moving into something new. Who knows? I have no idea.
And as we've talked to Danny Wirtz about this, we asked him this very question. You can go back and watch it right before opening night. And, you know, a lot of the pressure to change the logo is not coming from the people that it actually affects.
Yeah.
I don't think they're in a rush to change it. They may tweak things here and there along the way, but I don't. The rush, the outcry is not coming from the Native American groups.
Quentin says the same thing. Quentin says he's a pretty left-leaning guy, but the tribes in the area don't seem to care. And I've heard, too, through various grapevines, I guess you'd say, that the tribes feel that the logo going away could be a bit of a erasure for them because the only thing keeping Blackhawks' name alive is the Blackhawks.
And the team has done a lot. Well, not a lot, but they have made a significant amount of change and investment into the indigenous communities and acknowledging a lot more than they did in the past. They did the land acknowledgement. It seems like management is focusing more on that, so it doesn't actually seem like they're going away from it. They're kind of trying to lean into it more in a more meaningful way rather than just saying,
they
want to be like, we're not changing our logo, and here's why.
Here's why.
Right,
Here's why you should know about this person.
It's an important piece of history that we don't want to erase, and I'm all for that. Like, I won't be offended by a Native American logo because I'm not Native American, and if people who are part of the indigenous tribes aren't offended, then nobody should be offended. That's how I look at it.
I think look, I'm sure there are some Native Americans that would prefer it go away. It's a very complicated conversation.
Yeah, and of all the things that our Native American communities in this country need to face, the challenges on a daily basis, a logo on a sports team is very low on that list.
I also think it's different from the Washington team and from the Cleveland team and the way it's represented. There's no – you go to a Hawks game, there is no Native American aspect to it aside from the logo and the land acknowledgement. There's no tomahawk chop. There's no chant. There's no war chant like the Seminoles do, right? Like, I think there's different levels of using a Native American logo, and I think the Hawks, for the most part, do it in a pretty respectable way. And now they're truly putting their money where their mouth is. They are making a legitimate investment in these communities. Yeah. Native American Heritage Month is awesome. When they have the game when the tribes come out and perform, that was my amazing.
One of the best nights of the year.
And I'll be honest with you, I have always had a fascination with Native American culture. Why? Because of the Blackhawks. As a kid, I'm like, that logo is cool. I want to learn about this stuff. And I did. And I don't think that it's always just by default good or bad. It's what the organization does with it. Mm-hmm. And I think the Hawks, more than any organization with a Native American logo, have done as good or better job than most of them.
Yep.
So and that's what matters. Help the communities, help people, educate people on what the logo means, who Blackhawk was, et cetera, and they do it before every damn game, and it's wonderful. They do a great job with it. All right, last thing we got is young Dangle guy with the $5 super chat. Says Ovechkin led 2022-23 jersey sales, followed by Crosby, Pasternak, Hughes, Matthews. Does Bedard's jersey outsell any two of those combined?
Yep.
He 100% will be number one. Yeah, I think
Bedard's jersey is going to be the top seller next year. Mark my words.
Every Hawks fan is going to have one next year.
Every Hawks fan, and there's going to be a lot of people in Canada that are going to buy them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bedard jerseys are going to fly off the shelves.
Yep.
Like, Toews and Kane for many, many, many years always found themselves in the top 10. Bedard will be at the top of the list.
Yep. I think especially next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, Marc-Andre Fleury was number 3 in the season in that 2/3 of a season he played here,
and everybody knew he was getting traded.
Right? Yeah.
Obviously, not everybody.
So yeah, it's definitely going to be Bedard at the top. I have no doubts about that.
I also want to say too, like what we just talked about with the logo, and we're saying, hey, the Hawks are doing their thing. I think coming down too hard either way is a bad thing. Say never change it or absolutely change it. It is a nuanced conversation. It is an ever-evolving conversation, and I hope the Hawks stay involved in those conversations, and as the information changes, that they make an educated opinion. I think anyone saying, don't ever do it, or do it right now, has not put enough thought into it, and has not talked to the people that truly it affects.
It's a fluid situation, just like everything else. Things change.
Yep.
And my advice is just listen to the arguments for both and make your own opinion.
There you go. All right, we're going to wrap things up. We are back tomorrow at 2 o'clock with Liam McHugh, studio analyst from TNT.
Allegedly.
Always a great guest, even though he stood us up last time. I already sent him a reminder, 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern. I'll send him Mountain and Pacific times tomorrow just in case, because I'm sure he's probably in Vegas already, getting ready for the series.
Yeah.
Because they're doing everything from Vegas. Like, they're going to be on location for
they're in
the entire
Vegas
Cup final.
Pacific time.
Yeah, so it'll be fun. Can't wait. Join us tomorrow at 2. We're presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app and use promo code CHGO when you sign up. For Greg and Mario, I'm Jay. Thanks to Steven for producing today. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 2 with Liam McHugh on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast.